Today, match week 13, 14, 15, all in one. Lots happen. Chelsea off the top, but remain comfortably in the top three behind Liverpool and leaders Man City. Tottenham surged to fifth. United steady the ship. Arsenal fall off the wagon. And Stevie G has Villa looking sharp. All that plus the relegation race heats up as the bottom three all now sit on 10 points. A recap of the past few match days, along with a preview of match day 16 and 17 on this episode of the Premiership Perusal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs. And the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start. The game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
A lot's happened.
Oh my gosh, it feels like it's been forever.
We'll let the listeners
It's been
know.
so long.
It's been so long since we
Last
had
podcast.
All right. Here it is. So we were unable to do last week, unfortunately.
Yep.
But we're back.
We're back.
Better
Fresh,
than ever. Yes.
crispy, live.
And we got lots to talk about.
Yes.
So what we're going to do on today's episode, we're going to break down, rather than individual games like we normally do, we're going to kind of just give a mini recap of what's happened over the past 3 match days, and then move on to our preview and predictions of the next 2, since we have more midweek action. So we'll start off, top of the table, Man City, 3 for 3, 9 points in 3 games.
Looking pretty unstoppable at this point.
Yeah, their game against West Ham, it finished 2-1, but they looked in control the entire game.
Yeah, that was a pretty favorable scoreline to West Ham because...
I mean, it took the Lanzini just banger at the end.
At the very end of the game, yeah. That was honestly just a wonderful display of passing, even in the snow.
Yes.
They were just whipping the ball around so fast.
Yeah, that's what sucked most about not being able to podcast last week. We couldn't fully get into the snow. We couldn't embrace the snow meme.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
It's hilarious all over the country. As far as the Villa game, it was, I wouldn't say nearly as decisive for City, but they still looked strong in that game.
Right.
Could have drawn, but I'd say they deserved the 3 points.
Right. Yeah, I'd agree. It was a good test. It's a good showing by Villa,
Mm-hmm.
Quite the underdogs in that one, but they gave them a good fight. But Man City did grind out the victory.
Yes.
Got the 3 points.
The last one, however, against Watford, didn't really have to grind out that much.
No, not...
When Sterling has a tap-in like the 4th minute, just standing like in front of the goal with no one near him, it's...
Yeah, that kind of set the tone for the game. Like, okay, 4th minute, City's already getting this wide-open goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you already know things are looking down for Mr. Watford.
Yeah.
And, hey, they scored a goal.
They did. It was a very strange goal. We'll get to it. But
very strange goal.
Given where City are at, clearly in the driver's seat as of now, in first, looking unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
What's changed recently? Because I feel like when they were struggling, I made the call that Gundogan has to start every game. And he has since then.
Yeah, Gundogan, it seems like they always are playing better when he's in the team.
He's their best link between defense and attack.
Yeah.
And he really can jump in the attack and we saw him score against West Ham.
Mm. Yeah,
he's not scoring as much as last year, but still.
I feel like he kind of just goes under the radar. Like teams just forget that he's there, and then he pops up, and then he scores, or he's assisting goals and stuff. And then you have Bernardo Silva, who is...
He's back in like Monaco, just getting to Man City form now. He's clicking.
There's probably very few players that are in better form than he is right now in world football.
No, he's definitely moved up the ladder on the Player of the Year rankings, especially if City win the league.
And it's funny because he was a guy that was rumored to be leaving in the summer.
Yes.
So now interesting from going from outcast to star of the show. One
other thing I want to talk about with City for sure. Grealish returning to Villa and getting booed.
That's pretty harsh.
Villa got some harsh fans, but you know what? It's funny nonetheless to me.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with City that's been standing out to you recently? I'd say maybe a little fall off in form. Not like they're terrible or anything, but Foden and Jesus not producing quite as much results as they were early on. Is that cause for concern?
I feel like having Jesus play the way that he was playing was kind of just like an unexpected added bonus.
Yeah.
Without it, oh well. But
they're still getting on, obviously.
Right. I think the interesting thing will be to see now that Grealish is kind of back integrated into the team. He had some really good chances against Watford.
Mm-hmm.
He could have scored a couple at least.
Yes.
Probably should have. It'll be interesting to see how they kind of work him into that. I mean, there's always that dynamic between him and like Cancelo kind of taking up the same spaces.
Yeah.
So
we've seen how good Cancelo can be and what he's done for City in terms of distribution. But
yeah, he was great in that West Ham game.
Oh yeah. You want to move on?
Let's move on.
Liverpool in second, same as City, 3 for 3, all 9 points, 4-0 Southampton, 4-1 Everton, 1-0 Wolves. The Southampton game was kind of strange because I don't know what Southampton was doing with that lineup. Not only was it just like completely different, it was like attack-minded against Liverpool. It's like, I don't know what you're trying to do.
Very strange lineup.
Everton is Everton, given where they were. And then Wolves, they just pull one out. But you know what? That's what you got to do if you're going to win the Premier League. Right. You got to win games that you're not supposed to or see them out.
Yeah, you have Origi there to score freaking crazy last-minute goals that you shouldn't
It's like
have.
Teams forget that Origi exists and he's on the field.
Yeah.
And he's just so crap they let him be, and then he just pops up and scores.
Yeah, he's not good. He's just, for some reason, he's
clutch.
Good at getting that clutch goal, like you say. Yeah. Yeah, their schedule. When you look at it, you think, Liverpool should be taking all 9 points out of this one.
You'd think so.
And they did. I mean, against Wolves.
You can maybe see drop points, but it's not ideal, and you wouldn't plan on it.
Yeah. And honestly,
Wolves in that game gave them all they could handle out of the 3 games.
Yeah.
I thought Liverpool did not look super sharp, especially in the first half in attack. Their passing was all over the place. I would say, you could say Liverpool is lucky with Origi popping up at the end, but Jota on that one should have easily scored. I don't know what that was.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Wolves gave them a good run out in that game, but they got all 9 points. Do you think they can do it and surpass Man City? What are your thoughts on that?
I think they can. Now, I'm a full believer.
Okay.
Only because I just watched them go out in the Champions League and play some guy named Morton, who's number 80 in Milan, and get a win. So
massive dope.
I mean, if they can do that, as long as you have Salah, anything is possible. He's just so good.
Right.
It's all he needs is one chance, and he can score for you at any given moment. But they are having some guys step up. Henderson's been playing really, really good lately for them, and then Jota had a little run before this where he was kind of clicking now after that Wolves game kind of fell off. But it's kind of strange to see how they're doing this, and Mane is really nowhere to be found. He just kind of goes for like 2 goals every
until they play Arsenal,
games.
then he pops up.
Yeah, that's the thing is he'll score like 2 goals and an assist in one game, and then he does nothing.
Right.
So, what are your thoughts on Liverpool? How are you feeling about him right now?
I feel like City just has that extra caliber of quality, but Liverpool, they've been excellent, honestly, and Mo Salah, if he keeps playing the way he has been, he's been insane.
Yeah.
It's just when I see them at Wolves, I felt like a 0-0 was probably deserved in that game. They pulled out the win, but you see games like that where you're like,
yeah,
maybe their attack looked pretty bad, like you said in the first half.
What's one thing we haven't talked about that I just in terms of squad, what we're looking at, strengths and weaknesses, I would give Liverpool the nod in terms of the keeper position over City. Ederson has not been amazing.
Yeah.
No one really
fair.
talking about it. He hasn't been amazing, and Alisson a couple of times, not like they have to do it that many times because Liverpool has a strong enough defense, but he bails them out every once in a while, some pretty good saves.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Man City's just so deep, it's hard to bet against them. That's why I had them and Chelsea neck and neck. But speaking of Chelsea,
down to the third spot, little
dip in
rocky form here in the past 3 games. You got the draw to United at home, win against Watford, but then the loss against West Ham.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at these 3 games, how many points would you have expected for Chelsea to walk away with after 3 games?
7.
7.
Walked away with 4. I would have bet Man U victory, Watford victory, draw with West Ham.
Yeah, that's
Wouldn't you?
fair.
Yeah. The United game, it came down to one chance for United, and they took it.
Yeah.
Just a sloppy mistake from Jorginho. Eventually, Chelsea make good on it to get at least a draw. The Watford game, they got straight up outplayed in that first half.
Yeah, that was...
It was a very strange game. It's because whenever they had the ball, it would eventually make its way to Saul.
Yeah, that's...
It's bad.
After that first time he played, I don't know why he was given another chance to play.
Is he the worst guy who's like really good in other leagues that came to the Premier League since, would you say Falcao? I mean, Higuain was kind of washed when he got to Chelsea. That's the only reason I didn't include him.
Yeah. Morata, maybe. I mean, Morata wasn't
No.
that bad. I mean,
he at least
was
scored,
just,
but
terrible.
Yeah, Saul is not good.
He's just,
and he can't get adjusted to the team or anything. I wouldn't be surprised if they just ended his loan in January.
You would think so.
I mean, and that's coming from a team that's having Chelsea. They have a lot of injury issues right now, but it's like, what's the point of having him out there?
Exactly.
And then the West Ham game, second half of the Watford game, Chelsea pull it together, get the win. They look dominant, like old Chelsea. West Ham, I felt that should have been a draw.
Yeah, that's fair.
It just came down to a matter of there's some weird plays. The first goal for West Ham, the penalty, just kind of strange. It's a mix of Jorginho and Mendy's fault. I thought Mendy could have easily just kind of cleared it, though, so I'd say it's a little more Mendy. But then the Shoss, the power of the Shoss.
The game-winning Shoss. You love to see the game-winning Shoss.
Gets West Ham in the win.
Trademark Shoss.
Yeah, where do you think it's going wrong for Chelsea right now?
Yeah, the problem is...
I think it's more the midfield than the defense.
Yeah, I think Jorginho has been quite poor, honestly. I mean,
lately.
The mistakes, it's like...
It's because he got third in Ballon d'Or, and now he's just lost all confidence. He thought he was the best player in the world, and then he didn't get rewarded with it.
Absolutely.
And he's just, oh my gosh.
And it's like Chelsea will have so many guys forward, and then all of a sudden, like this weird fluky, like long ball that's like high up in the air, and he's the only guy back.
Mm-hmm. And he tries to take a touch rather than play it back to the keeper.
Right, and it's just like, okay, it's one mistake, but
it completely costs it.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's all it takes. I would still bet Chelsea to rebound. I think if I had to power rank it right now, given where I was at, I was City and Chelsea and then Liverpool. I think it's City and then Liverpool, Chelsea as like a 1A City and then 1B Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, at least for Chelsea, they have Mount, who's come back.
Mount's been clicking.
Goals.
They got to get some of these guys back healthy, especially Conte, I mean, it's pretty rough. I think since the last time we podcast, they lost Chilwell for practically the year.
Yeah.
That's going to be rough. Now you only have Alonso on that side as a wing-back option, really.
Yeah, that is pretty big loss. I mean, he was putting a lot of goals in.
Not to mention, the Ruben Loftus-Cheek experience is coming to an end, hopefully, for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Tommy Tuck can only meme on teams so long. He's not looked very good. I mean, he didn't look great anyways to begin with, but now it's really like, this is Fulham Loftus-Cheek.
Yeah, this is the guy who couldn't start for Fulham.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, yeah, you got away with it playing him a couple games. Like, please stop.
Yeah, but
Please.
that's the thing is they're playing him when the injuries weren't like terrible. Now the injuries are terrible and they have to play him and he's out of form and it's like, oh my gosh. But I still back Chelsea to rebound, especially I think they got to find a way to incorporate Ziyech more. He's really been doing a good job too in terms of distributing that second half against Watford and West Ham.
And really you need to find a way to get Lukaku. I mean, he just hasn't felt like a part of the team since after like the third week.
Yeah, he came out, he bagged some goals, and then he got hurt, and it's like, okay, now he's healthy. And you're like, Tuchel, he's healthy. Get him out there.
Right.
I don't know. We'll have to see. Although it's going to be hard because Havertz has been playing pretty well. Maybe they go almost with like Lukaku and then like Havertz is like kind of a false nine along with them. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But speaking of formation changes, West Ham in that Chelsea game.
The David Moyes masterclass.
Oh my gosh. So we'll start off, they lose to City 2-1 in the snow.
It
Hit
happens.
a Lanzini banger.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about, I mean, West Ham at home beat Chelsea and Liverpool. And then, I mean, they lost to City comfortably. They didn't really have a chance. But 2-1 at City. They're hanging in with the big boys. Draw with Brighton. That was just kind of a strange game.
Yeah,
it felt like West Ham had it for the most part. But then it felt for a good chunk of the game that there are no real chances. And then Maupay just hits a bike on you in the 89th.
Yeah, that one is pretty disappointing to drop those points to that late goal.
Not to mention, they could have had a second goal right after halftime.
Yeah.
But it like barely nicks Antonio. If he doesn't touch it, second goal, go up 2-0. But
yeah, honestly, I mean, the way West Ham have been playing against the big boys this season has been pretty insane.
Yeah, impressive.
I mean, the area where West Ham has kind of struggled, honestly, is
the mid-table.
The mid-table, like
they can crush
like
the lower
Brighton
teams and hang with the top flight. But then the 3-2 Chelsea win, as we talked about. Yeah, I think that formation was just for the Chelsea game. I don't think they're gonna stick with a back 3, back 5 combo.
Yeah, I think it was specifically to like try and contain the wingbacks and Reece James.
Yeah, it was drop. Gosh, who'd they drop? Benrahma? I think they dropped Benrahma.
Yeah.
Or no, Fornals. They dropped Fornals and
Fornals.
Yeah, put another center back there and moved Johnson and Shufala.
I don't think Benrahma started though in that game.
No, but I know they had Bowen started, but
yeah, Fornals
regardless
did get dropped.
Yeah, regardless, they added that third center back.
And the first half, though, to be fair, like Chelsea looked by far the better team in the first half.
Second half was more kind of
the problem where Chelsea, the huge area for Chelsea in this one was letting up that goal before halftime. When you've been in control of the game, you go into halftime 1-0, and you don't give West Ham that route back into the game. Instead it goes 1-1 into halftime, and West Ham,
lifeline.
They're back in it. Second half, they looked
a lot
excellent.
Better. To say the least. Yeah, I honestly really like because Shufalo really could just be a wing back, and Ben Johnson, he hasn't been required to do a ton going forward with West Ham. He's shown flashes that he's capable of it. In this game, he obviously was playing really well, but West Ham hanging in there. You'd bet them to be fourth?
Yeah, I would. I think, honestly, they just have so much quality in their team, really. And the ability to adjust their tactics,
Mm-hmm.
even though at times it seems like they're kind of more of a rigid team. But
Yes.
I like that adjustment by David Moyes. First half didn't go good. Second half, come out looking much better. Get the W against
Get your guys
Chelsea.
forward more.
The true test will be to see if, as they play more of these mid to low table teams, like, can they really capitalize on the advantage that they have? Or are they
Yeah.
going to struggle more when they are forced to be in control of the game? Can't really hit on the counter.
Yes, you need to be the Wenger Arsenal. That's what you need to do. That's what every team that's like near the top should strive to do. Literally win every game against teams you're supposed to beat, and then
Right, because you think about it, you play most of the games, if you're a fourth place team, most of the games you play are going to be opponents below you.
mm-hmm.
So it's great and all to do well against the big teams, but you got to earn your money against the small teams.
Yes, absolutely.
And
One
at
last
this
note on
point.
West Ham before we go Tottenham.
Yeah.
Doing it without Antonio looking amazing. He did score. I guess that was 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's been a little while since he scored. We talked about how reliant they were on him. That's pretty impressive that they're doing this with different guys. Bowen really kind of coming into his own. Lanzini finding form
Right.
instead of Benrahma.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Bowen. He seems like he has more confidence. Earlier in the season, it seemed like he had, a lot of good chances, but wasn't scoring on them. But
Yeah, even that Wolves game, he wasn't taking them, but still, he's just looked better. He's grown as a player.
yeah, he's getting extended run out. So
Oh, yeah, here you go. Here's the team. Your team.
numero cinco, Tottenham, El Hotspur.
2 wins in 2 matches. Didn't play week 13. Match with Burnley suspended due to the weather. This one this weekend going to be suspended due to COVID outbreak at Tottenham.
Yeah.
2-0 against Brentford. That game, Tottenham are just starting to win in like the most boring ways possible.
Yeah, it's
It is.
It's not enjoyable, but it's results.
Yes.
And they didn't concede a goal in either game.
Yeah. No, I think that Conte's kind of got that squared away. Sanchez and Dyer in the most recent game against Norwich. They did give up chances. Like Norwich
Yeah.
had chances and stuff, but not able to score.
Yeah, and it was interesting because it seemed like they were doing less of the trying to force their way from playing out of the back and kind of playing more into the counterattacking system,
Yeah,
which I prefer.
It was a mix of you push for the counter, and if it's not there, then you just kind of slow it down and hold possession, which
Yeah.
honestly is probably what's best for them. Son kind of coming alive, still waiting to get Kane really going. I thought that
Yeah.
he actually did some stuff. I forget if it was the Brentford game, but he's actually doing stuff off the ball and at least helping out, and his passing looked okay.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they're really going to have to still get him going, I would imagine. The wide plays looked better in terms of defense and attack, I think.
How about that Mora goal? Lucas
Oh, my
Moura?
gosh. That was dirty. That was filthy.
Absolute belter.
I mean, that's what it takes to score on Tim Krul these days.
True.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that this will somewhat hold up for Tottenham? Or do you think that they'll eventually slide down more like 7th, 8th range by end of the year?
Yeah, we still need a larger sample size. I mean, Brentford and Norwich not playing the best football at the moment. I mean, Norwich has been improved, but
Yeah.
still bottom of the table. Brentford kind of,
Not where they
poor run
were.
of form. So I'd like to see what they can do against maybe a team like Wolves or Brighton,
Well, we could have seen that this weekend.
Exactly. Unfortunately, postponed. But I think it is better.
Yes.
It's just, I feel like players actually would want to play under Conte as opposed to Nuno. I felt like, this guy comes in, he's 7th choice. No one really respects him.
Yeah, I think I was going to ask, do you think that they would have got these results under Nuno?
I don't think so.
Really?
I mean, I don't think they score 3 against Norwich.
That's fair. They probably don't get 3 and 2 and keep a clean sheet. They probably do drop one, but
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of the same, except you don't score the goals. Because that's what was not happening at all.
towards the end, absolutely. Yeah, I still think, coming in the year, Tottenham and Arsenal was like, I thought Arsenal was the chaotic one, and Tottenham was, we're going to get what we're going to get. I kind of feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might have flipped. I feel better about Arsenal against the smaller clubs and stuff, and they can take care of that. Tottenham, part of that's just a managerial change, which I didn't fully expect, but they're all over the place.
Yeah, it is kind of like 1 week to the next. You're not really sure what you're going to get.
Yes.
And like right now, it looks all right, but is that going to last? Who knows? You wouldn't put money on it.
No, because it's Tottenham, it's Conte, it's Kane. You're betting a lot on things that are a lot of variables.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you know what? Good for you, Tottenham. Up to 5th.
And I got to say, very strange goal from Sanchez where he scored and just didn't celebrate at all.
Yeah,
It's
Dyer
like
screaming in his ear.
absolute respect to
for
his
Norwich.
favorite club, Norwich.
Real quick on Tottenham, extending Lloris. He's been their best player this year, in my opinion.
Now, I would say move on. Unless it's bringing in Jordan Pickford, which would be hilarious. But if you're going to bring in Jordan Pickford, you might as well extend
Lloris for a year.
Lloris he's like 35. I think you got to bring in someone new, and I think that's kind of what Tottenham is in need of. They need
a little bit
kind
of
of
a
like
fresh
the Arsenal
restart.
refresh, where you bring in some new vibes.
Yeah, but it's like Kane's still going to be there, Son's going to be there, Dele's still going to be there, so it's like how much of a reboot are you doing?
Well, we should get rid of Dele. We should get rid of everyone.
I don't know how you do that. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
United, turning it around, fire Ole. Michael Carrick masterclass against Chelsea 1-1. Michael Carrick masterclass against Arsenal 3-2. Also got I believe a Champions League victory in there. Real quick before we go on to the other result, do you think maybe future manager, if they can't get like Poch or something in the summer, or think they would just stick with Ranić?
I feel like, they have to be sticking with Ranić unless it like goes south.
I couldn't imagine.
Which I highly doubt.
Yeah. But the other result, which was their first under Ranić, 1-0 under Palace. What are your takeaways from the results and their performances under the two managers?
Yeah, honestly, that Chelsea game was pretty unexpected. I expected them to get battered.
Yeah.
But to be fair, they were just playing very defensively.
Yeah. Chelsea carried the weight for most of that game and had the chances. Yeah. It's just unfortunate when it falls to Hudson-Odoi every single time for Chelsea.
That is very tragic.
And then United, Jadon Sancho, he took advantage of his one goal-scoring chance.
Yeah,
but he's at least looked better in terms of facilitating. He doesn't have assists, but he's got a couple hockey assists.
Yeah, he's more involved. Whereas before, like he might show up on the ball, and then it's like, well, he's just like trying to dribble past people, but he's not doing anything.
Yeah, I don't want to cope for Ole or anything, but it is pretty unfortunate. Like they just bought guys that like didn't fit what he was trying to do. It's like
especially Ronaldo.
Yeah.
He had no plans for Ronaldo in that system at all. You're getting all these guys in. You're getting Sancho and Ronaldo, guys that you're expected to play.
Yes.
You can't really just bench them. Ultimately,
not to mention
Sancho
Rashford
was so
bad
that he got benched. And then you have all these guys who don't want to press in a league where everyone is pressing.
Not just a league, a sport where you have to press now. Yeah. Every league, they're making people press in the game. So,
yeah, I do feel bad for Ole. I felt like he was doing what he could with the hand that he was dealt.
Yes. The 3-2 victory against Arsenal, such a weird game, all over the place. It just kind of felt like luck a little bit. You could say luck for Arsenal on the De Gea weird goal. He's like fell over, but at the same time, it's like
Fred, like
a bunch of things.
On him or something.
Yeah, a bunch of things went right for United. It was just so strange. And 3-2,
Yeah.
I don't know what the right score line for that game was, but I don't think it was 3-2 United.
Yeah, that one more came down to like Arsenal failing to capitalize on
Chances.
chances
And
and being
defense.
ahead in the game.
Yeah.
You know, when you're ahead in the game and then you sit
Well,
back.
We'll get to that.
But yeah, and then the Palace one,
They looked good in terms of holding the ball and putting pressure on Palace. Palace kind of felt like they were coming out like the Man City game, except they weren't as sharp with their game plan as they were against Man City. In terms of when they did get the ball, they weren't able to get it forward and draw fouls or spring on the counter as well.
yeah, it was interesting to see in this one already. You could see kind of what they were going for. You know, a lot quicker getting the ball up to the attackers. You know, kind of bypassing the midfield most of the time. And, you know, that really worked well for United in that game. They looked quite a bit better.
Yeah,
I thought,
it was getting it around the box and then trying to swing it in a lot of times.
Yeah.
Eventually, it just fell to Fred.
What are you going to do when Fred
Hits a
scores a banger?
masterclass.
I mean, beautiful curler. You know, what can you do? United blessed by Fred.
So United looking pretty bright as of now. Is there anyone you would expect to get going under Rangnick, given how they're going to play, given, well, what we've seen so far in the one game? Is there anyone you would expect? Bruno, maybe? Ronaldo?
Yeah, I'd like to see Bruno step up more.
He's really been,
Quite
especially
poor.
in that Chelsea game,
Yeah.
was non-existent.
He just looks like a shell of what he was last season. I mean, it's
Yeah.
crazy the drop-off that he's had. And sometimes it looks like he has no clue what he's doing, and he's just run around like a headless chicken.
Pretty much.
Maybe trying too hard to
Force it.
facilitate. But, hey, when you look at United, 3 very good results in a difficult transition period.
Yes.
That's
Staying afloat.
a
That's
big
all that
success,
matters.
I would say.
Not staying afloat anymore. Down to 7th.
Quickly sinking.
Arsenal. They get 2-0 against Newcastle. Newcastle looked pretty stinky in that one.
Yeah. To say the least.
The 3-2 loss to United, just very strange. My guy Marty giveth, my guy Marty taketh.
Yeah.
Didn't really have an impact on the game.
Yeah, he struggles. I mean, he'll pop up and have good moments, but then he'll be kind of invisible.
Yes. Mil Smith-Rowe scoring in that one as well. It's just, like we were going to say, it's the defense. It's having the lead and then your defense being the rock of your team and just being like, we're not going to concede. We're just going to hold on to this no matter the length of the game left.
Right. If you try and do that for like half the game or more, it's like, man, you're just playing with fire. Because
You got to play. I'm always, in any sport, a proponent of playing the way you play, playing to win. Don't play not to lose.
Right.
If you're just holding on for life, unless it's for like the last 10 minutes of a match, it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that's exactly what happens.
Especially against United.
It's like, okay, we scored our goal. Now we're going to sit back and not, try and capitalize on United's weakness of
Just
poor midfield.
Just bad. And then it goes to even worse.
Just an absolute
Everton.
nightmare against Everton.
Everton fans who are listening and just knowing that Sam's an Arsenal fan, were jumping up and down with joy, screaming at their television.
But honestly, it's like you look at this one and it's like, oh, Everton, terrible form. Oh, we're going to find a way to lose this one, of course.
This always
so Arsenal.
This applies to like a lot of sports. I feel like in terms of like a narrative, it's like a team that's like at least half decent, I guess, but they're in dire need of a win because they've been struggling. It feels like whenever they're in prime time, they're either going to lose 5-0 or they're going to just grind out a game that's close.
Yeah.
And this one, it obviously went the one way. Yeah, I mean, Everton looked the better side in terms of chances, probably in the first half, and even though Arsenal held most of the ball and Everton didn't really want to have it unless they're playing quick.
Yeah, it's like the second Arsenal lost possession. It's like Everton are somehow through on goal again. It's like, how is this happening so easily that they're just walking through our entire midfield? You know, there's barely any resistance.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, when we have the ball, it's so difficult to create any chances.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like Arsenal's kind of back to just playing slower, and like their methodical way is so much worse than Arsenal just trying to play fast and creating chaos.
Yeah, not to mention, I think Thomas Partey has looked quite awful.
I was going to say, what's going wrong in terms of the midfield dynamic?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Xhaka coming back.
I didn't like that
For
they
the
played
game.
him as much as they did.
Right. I mean, to throw him in, he hasn't played for
I would have liked either a
2
sub
months.
or he just plays like the first half.
Yeah. And we're like, okay, no, you're getting thrown in for the full game. And Maitland-Niles not even on the bench.
Very strange.
And that kind of ties into the United game where Arteta tweaks the lineup. He throws El Neni in there,
Yeah.
and Martinelli started as well. That was more due to injury, but having El Neni come in there for a big game just kind of randomly, it's like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make much sense.
What about Aubameyang coming in the Everton game?
Okay, Aubameyang has been
Bad.
terrible.
He's been bad.
Yeah.
Lacazette didn't look very good in that game either.
And then you have Eddie Nketiah coming on and
Misses
missing
the
a
tap
sitter.
in. Very nice. At least Marty scored. Didn't El Neni get an assist in that one? He should be playing against Everton, not United.
And kind of confusing, Maitland-Niles not even on the bench. He had a good performance against Watford earlier in
Yeah,
the season.
you'd think that'd get him more time, but apparently not.
Yeah, especially how bleak the midfield is.
So what's your solution for Arsenal real quick before we move on to Wolves?
Arsenal need more belief, and they need belief after they score. For some reason, they lose confidence after they score goals.
I think it's complacency. I think it's part of the manager creating that sense of complacency amongst the players.
It's hard to say. I mean,
At least you
it
have
feels like the young squad when you go into these matches, like away to United or away to Everton. You
Yeah.
know, Goodison, it's a hard place to play when the fans
Yes.
are up for it. And they were getting riled up
They definitely were.
by Mr. Mike Dean. And they were going nuts. And they were, really into the game. And it's times like these where you see Arsenal's inexperience and
Yeah. Yeah.
they just struggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of the growing pains of a younger squad, but, at least you still have Ramsdale.
Right.
Wolves
Back-to-back player of the month.
potentially had the 2 most boring games after I said that they were an exciting team to watch. They just had to lie to everyone on my behalf. Draw against Norwich and Burnley, both 0-0. I mean, honestly, if you had to watch the Burnley Wolves game, it is worth it for the one sequence of Torre running straight down the middle of the field with a 2-on-1 and not passing it to Jimenez for a tap-in. And then, 5 minutes later, as they're at midfield, they have a 3-on-2 or a 4-on-2 break.
Yeah.
And he passes it too soon. Hilarious sequences.
And to the wrong side.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
Traore
Traore
wide
thinks-
50
open. Oh, my gosh.
£50 million player.
And then they'll come out and play well against Liverpool. They gave it to
Yeah.
Liverpool, and then they lose. I said that they'd kind of have a fall off in form. What are your main thoughts in these 3 games? I'd say them dropping Moutinho is a little interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Also, the 0 goals in 3 games. And when 2 of those games are against Norwich and Burnley, you got to score goals. If you can't score goals against Norwich or Burnley, that's a red flag to me.
They should make Troy lose weight and get it. They just put him and Hudson-Odoi next to each other and have them do the same play, and you can't tell who's who.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't understand why Traore is coming into the team. There's no reason why he should he goes out of
Somehow-
the team and they look better, and then they're like, okay, well, we better put him back in.
Somehow, some way, Trincao, who does nothing with the ball, probably helps your team more than
Yeah,
Troy.
I think so.
I think it makes more sense just to drop another guy in midfield.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know how that could hurt. and just have Chan and Jimenez up front. I don't see what the issue with that is. I know you like to go with the 3 near the front, but Trincao literally does nothing with the ball, and he's solely an attacker. And Traore, we don't need to talk about it. It's very confusing. It's very confusing, but
yeah, especially when they like to play a lot through their wing backs. Mm-hmm. It's like when you have a winger there, they're just kind of redundant anyways.
Yeah, we're just talking about Grealish versus Cancelo.
Yeah,
that's why it's hard to make it work out, especially when Ait-Nouri has been pretty good. But Jose Sa makes some of the strangest decisions possible, and then will make like a good save that he shouldn't save.
Very strange. He's an enigma.
No one can understand it. That's why when I see like the goalkeeper stats and he's like top 5 or like even top 7, top 8, and like all these advanced stats, it's like, yeah, but I don't like it doesn't feel comfortable having him out there.
There's nothing comfortable about Jose Sa.
I'd rather have someone who's metrically worse than him, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, moving on.
I just want to say 1 point. I think they should have lost against Norwich.
Norwich played better.
Yeah.
Not to mention we've been hyping up Norwich. It's unfortunate that they couldn't win.
Yeah.
Brighton, speaking of strange goalkeepers.
Yeah.
Bobby Sanchez is taking a hit. I don't know, especially in that Southampton game. The distribution, the like lack of coming out to claim the ball at times, the saves like into your defender that rebound right back to you.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, at what point does he just get dropped? Like, I feel like
Mr.
we should
Steele,
be there.
Hello, Mr. Steele. You got to come in the game. So 3 draws for Brighton, a 0-0 against Leeds, which honestly was pretty balanced. You could have said that either team could have won, but I wouldn't. I'd say draw is fair.
Yeah.
The West Ham game, where they created some half-decent chances. Fabianski's just so good that those half-decent chances are going to go to waste.
Yeah, true.
And then Maupay hits a bike.
Yeah.
And then Southampton, we'll get to Southampton in a bit, but they looked so much better than Brighton early on in the first half. As the first half went on, Brighton kind of found their footing. They looked all right. Mm-hmm. Second half was more back and forth, but a little more of, Southampton kind of peaked, so they're on their way down, and Brighton started looking a little better. And they just get gifted a goal by your guy, James Ward-Prowse.
Absolutely.
Running onto the line for no reason. Falls to Maupay, scores it, 90th minute. What are you looking at, Brighton, right now?
Brighton, their attack has just been dire, honestly. They're getting very few chances. And then, Neil Maupay scored 2 goals, but for the other 88 minutes of the game, he does nothing. And honestly, their attack has looked so poor.
It's a little bit too reliant on Trossard.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's all Trossard. And if he's out there trying to make stuff happen, but he's got no one to work off of. Yeah,
it's a mix of that, and I mean, we've talked about this before. Trossard is the secondary guy, should not be your primary guy. If you have a bunch of secondary guys, which is really all Brighton can hope for, you can't over-rely on one of them being Trossard. Where's Gross?
Right.
Where's Alex McAllister? Where's, he's not the most attacking guy, but where's like Solly March? Sometimes he creates for them. I mean, where are your other guys?
Solly March, he came in the Southampton game, and he
looked better. Good. Yeah. Same with Motor. At times he'll come in and look fine, but
Motor had the one. I forget which game it was, but he should have scored. Can't remember which.
I feel
game
like it was Southampton, but it could be wrong.
But yeah, it's just you need some more attacking play. You need to be passing faster, moving the defenses around. A lot of times it's just defenses can kind of sit back because they know that Brighton's not going to be able to break them down.
I feel like Brighton's best chance in the Southampton game was from wide play from what's his name? The wing back. I keep wanting to say Tyreek Mitchell because I'm looking at a Crystal Palace kit
Lamptey.
on Sam. Yes, Lamptey.
Yeah.
That shouldn't be the case. Him swinging it over to Trossard from the edge of the box for a good shot, but like that shouldn't be your second best chance against Southampton.
Yeah, and I feel like they haven't been able to use Cucurella as much lately.
Yes.
It seems like he'll get the ball, and then it's kind of like he doesn't have anywhere to go because the other team's sitting back.
Yeah.
So that doesn't really benefit you. So maybe you're better off having an extra midfielder instead.
Maybe you're just better off starting Danny Welbeck.
They would if they could, but he's perpetually injured
Yes.
somehow.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to feel anything other than neutral about Brighton right now.
Hey, I predicted that they would drop off.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, what can you say? You know who's not doing neutral right now? They're looking pretty good.
They're on the up.
Aston Villa. Stevie G's Aston Villa.
Stevie G's Claret and Blue Army. The villains.
Palace, 2-1 at Selhurst. Victory. 1-2 loss at home against City, but they hung with City. And then the 2-1 victory against Leicester at home. You like what you're seeing from Villa? Because I know I am.
It's surprising to see this fast, the turnaround that they've had. Although, on the other hand, is it surprising? Because we knew that they had quality. They showed it earlier in the season.
It's just, it was unfortunate circumstances. There's just times where, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out. No matter how much you think Dean Smith's a good manager, which we do, and a lot of people do.
Yeah.
No matter how good you think Villa's squad is, which we do, we think it's solid. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, and it's like, for some reason, their defense, which they have, like, very good center backs, for some reason.
It was fine early in the year, and then
drop off.
eventually just went down the tubes.
Yeah.
Now it's more solidified. Yeah, I would say, which of the three was most impressive to you? Because honestly, you could make a case that their loss to City was most impressive. I would probably say the Palace one, although Palace kind of sliding a lot for him, still had to go out there. They dominated that game, I felt like. John McGinn was killing it out there.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely looked a lot better in that game. A bit unexpected. I mean, you're going to Selhurst. Tough game, tough place to play.
Oh, absolutely.
Palace in good form. They were at the time. But, yeah, like you said, City, that was a good performance. You don't really expect that one. I mean, you know that they're playing better. But then to have a decent performance against City, that's nice. And then the Leicester game, that was just a weird game.
It really was. Could have went any kind of way. They technically could have won 3-1, but...
And should have, because...
Schmeichel getting a fingertip on the ball.
That was a ridiculous disallow of the goal where he's just... Honestly, it's very annoying that Schmeichel, he's quite theatric.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they...
Probably. Yeah. But you know what? I'm really impressed. And I said that when they got him, the main guys to watch going forward and why it might work is the wingbacks, Target and Matty Cash, and they've looked good so far.
Yeah. Those guys are really important.
Yeah, really getting forward. But I think you hit a main part with it. The defense isn't allowing 3 goals a game.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah. So Ollie Watkins kind of getting back into form. That's good for them. Buendia's showing some signs of life. He's got some goals and assists. So up and up for Villa rather. Anything else you want to touch on about them?
Yeah, it's just interesting because they have guys like Watkins and Ings, but those aren't the guys that they go to.
Yeah, I know Ramsey's getting a lot more chances lately. Even Matty Cash, Matty Target are creating a lot. Buendia, we figured he'd be a main role, but McGinn's doing a good job getting forward. So good that he's rumored with United, which would probably be an amazing signing by Man U.
And then, scoring from the set pieces as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, a mix of that was... Let's just go to Leicester.
Let's go to Leicester.
I mean, Leicester's defending on set pieces this year has been so ass.
Very bad.
It's unbelievable. So they had a 4-2 win against Watford.
In the snow.
I know you watch this, and I watch this. Are we sure Watford shouldn't have got like a draw from that game?
Yeah, that was...
It's
a very favorable scoreline for Leicester for sure.
Watford hit the post, I think, twice.
Yeah.
Not to mention they had some very fluky goals.
Not to mention the
snow.
worst defending from Truce Ekong that has ever been
Oh,
seen.
my
Literally
gosh.
ducks out of the way of the ball.
I don't know what he's thinking.
And Madison, free
Madison-
reign.
Yeah, let's get into that. James Madison's actually kind of come alive.
He's
now.
alive.
That's the one bright spot for Leicester.
Yeah, that's true.
He's kind of keeping it together for them. I know Lookman scored. He still hasn't looked all that great.
He's just kind of
Barnes
like
is-
an addition to the team. It doesn't feel like he's like an integral part. It's
It
just
does
like
kind of feel like he's on
there.
loan.
Yeah.
It feels like he's on loan from like City or something. Harvey Barnes, again, creates chances for himself, not really for his teammates. I don't know. And let's just get to their defense in midfield. I don't even really want to talk about their midfield. We already know that's a steaming pile of poo. Their defense,
Even James Johnny Evans can't save that.
is it even fixable at this point?
I mean, you really need Fofana back, but even Fofana
I don't think he can
has
rescue
his
that.
faults.
Yeah.
The fullback situation is an issue as well. I mean, Luke Thomas out there
Yeah, no.
playing more than he should.
That's not ideal. Hashtag not ideal.
Yeah, they concede way too many goals, and like you say, set pieces. You can't be conceding those.
Let's talk about their second game, match week 14, Southampton 2-2 draw. They gave up 5 shots in the first, 3 shots on target in the first 5 minutes, 5 shots in total.
Yeah,
Southampton starts fast.
but not
But-
that fast.
That is ridiculous. I think it's something like Schmeichel has the most saves and most shots faced this year. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah, I mean, they just, for some reason, I mean, their midfield, like you say, is very poor. It's Ndidi,
Sumore is, oof.
I mean, Ndidi serves a very specific purpose.
Yeah. They don't have the right pieces around him to fulfill what he's best at, I feel like.
Right. But in terms of, like, going forward, you get nothing out of him.
No.
No possession or anything. He pretty much is like the tackle guy.
Yeah.
And he wins back possession. And then someone else needs to be in the midfield. And you probably need 2 guys.
Yeah.
You need like a Tielemans and someone else.
Yeah, you need like 2 Tielemans. You don't need Sumare.
No, Sumare
Sumare
does
is
nothing.
pretty much Ndidi, but even worse.
Yeah.
He's dollar store Basuma.
He,
And then the 2-1 loss against Villa, they get the goal early from Barnes. Mm-hmm. They're playing fast. That's what you like to see out of Leicester. But you need a little more than just 1 goal,
right, they have
especially with this defense.
moments where they look good. But
can
unfortunately,
never
that's
piece
like
together.
5% of the game.
Yeah, they can never piece together a full match. And then, like we talked about with their set piece defending and stuff, just getting beat all over the place off these corners and stuff. It's truly incredible.
Yeah, I mean, that's one spot you got to look at and be like, okay, we got to
Get this straightened
get
out.
this straightened out first and foremost.
It's bad. It is bad.
Yeah, and you keep thinking that maybe they'll kind of break out of this poor form, but it seems more like an extended thing.
I think they're just kind of stuck where they are, and I think they're going to finish somewhere between 13th and 8th.
Yeah.
They're just going to bounce around between there. I can't see it getting better. I'm pulling the plug on you, Leicester. I'm giving up on you. Sorry, Leicester fans. But we're moving on to a team that had the plug pulled on them, figuratively and literally, and
Then
then
they
they
broke
beat
out
Arsenal.
of the coffin.
Yeah.
They said, I'm not dead.
They did the Undertaker sit-up. 1-0 loss to Brentford. They didn't have like any chances in that game.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that they had to go to VAR for that penalty when I was watching that. That seemed pretty clear that it was a penalty. I don't know how I
Right.
missed it. 4-1 drubbing by Liverpool.
Surprising they scored 1 goal.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. I wasn't watching that one live, but when I checked the score and it was 2-1, I was like, oh.
Oh, hello.
And then they gave up 2 more. And then the ultimate, they're buried 50 feet deep, and then they just come back from the dead against Arsenal.
Despite having 2 goals ruled offsides for very narrow margins on Richarlison.
That second one against Richarlison was by like a toenail.
Yeah, it was.
What was that? I can't believe they called that. The first one, yes, he was a good chunk enough offside. But yeah, I couldn't believe they called that one.
You know, it was bad when I was celebrating that Everton was having goals disallowed from VAR. You know, if you ever find yourself in that position, you better be afraid because bad things are coming.
Seek help.
And they came.
I mean, Demarai Gray was just an incredible run. You know, someone getting a run for this team, especially in that Arsenal game, that I like to see was Andre Gomez. I thought he came out and actually did a very well job against Arsenal.
Yeah, you got to say the substitutions in that game made a big difference. You know, minus Alex Iwobi, he did nothing. But
yes,
but it was Gomez and I forget who else was subbed on. But they made a difference. And having Doucouré back has been huge.
Yes.
Absolutely huge. Having Richarlison, you know, helps immensely. Not having to play, you know, Fabian Delph in midfield anymore. That's nice. Interesting, no Luca Digne in the game against Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't know what the rotation was. I know they got Yuri Mina in there. First game back in a while because he was hurt.
Yeah.
And then he literally got hurt in like the 30th minute and they had to put Holgate on. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, like, pick out a bright spot for Everton given this terrible run. I guess you'd say it was Keane. He's had moments where he's looked pretty good. And, I mean, if you look back, it's mainly the attack that's been terrible for him. It's not like the defense has been god-awful, but it's been out of form. In this game, I thought Keane did a pretty good job given what he had to do against Arsenal, although his skill set's going to match up pretty decent with how Arsenal were set to attack Everton.
And it's got to be said, though, we got to talk about the potential red cards.
Oh, my gosh.
First, you got Ben Godfrey with the stamp on Tomiyasu's
I couldn't
head.
believe that, especially since it went to review. And even if it's like incidental stuff, a lot of times they'll call that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
That was pretty crazy. And then the second one, you have Anthony Gordon just completely take out, I forget who it was, Saka?
Yeah.
No review. No foul even called. It went out for a throw, and they called a throw.
Yes.
No VAR.
I know what you're talking about. By the benches? Or
Yeah.
no, it was on the other side of the field.
I don't think it was. I think
Was it
it
by
was
the
on the
benches?
near side.
Okay.
Yeah. But just, like, I don't know how you don't review that.
Yeah, it's very strange. But it has to be said that Arsenal were throwing coins at disabled children. And
Against
does that
United,
even out?
Yeah. That's true. Bad karma. Bad juju.
But no one deserves that kind of bad juju, getting a 90th minute winner from Everton scored on your head.
I mean, throwing coins at children is fine in my eyes.
Yes. Demarai Gray, 90th minute winner, however.
Not okay. Quote me on that.
Is this where it turns around for Everton? Or they just kind of had to get one just to get one, and they might kind of
I think
get some draws?
I think it will be a nice little boost. They got players coming back. I mean, still missing Calvert-Lewin, but
that's the main thing. But as long as
I feel like
Doucouré's in there,
Doucouré adds so much to the team.
yeah. I mean, it is a massive jump from Fabian Delph.
Yeah.
Moving on to 13th, Brentford had a win, a loss, and a draw. How about that? The trifecta. Win against Everton, got a penalty from Tony. The 2-0 loss to Tottenham, just kind of got outworked in that one. And Tottenham really went at him the right way, I thought. Just kind of playing quicker than them and, you know, avoiding the midfield. And then the Leeds game was all over the place. They didn't do anything in the first half, really.
Yeah, they have a tendency to struggle to even get on the ball at times. Mm-hmm. And they just get pushed back, and it's like, this is not good. You got to get some possession, you know, get something going, hit on the counter, but you're spending way too much time defending. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, especially when it's not their strongest point, especially lately. But in the second half, they come out, they get 2 goals. Nice play, wide, and then cutting it over to the middle. Leeds defending obviously still
Yeah.
shaky, but good play. And then the second goal was really nice build-up play, great finish from Canos, who celebrated in front of the Leeds fans and then had like an empty water bottle thrown at him and he fell on the ground.
It happens.
Very funny.
That's what you want to see against Leeds, though. It's like you gotta test Leeds. You can't sit back against Leeds.
No.
Their defense is terrible.
Exactly. You have to go for it. 2-2 draw, I'd say that's fair. They were in position to win that and take all 3 points, but the leaky Brentford defense.
Yeah, that's pretty disappointing to drop those points. I mean, at this point, would have been a nice 3 points.
True. I think Tony's out for the next match. I don't know if it was COVID related or not.
Yeah, I think he had COVID. Yeah, got COVID.
So it's going to be another match like the one against Leeds, where they got 2 goals in this one, but I wouldn't back that too much. Without Tony means so much going forward for them.
Yeah.
On the ball and off the ball,
and I don't even think that they fully utilize him, honestly.
No,
He's
feel like
so good that they just can't.
It's kind of hard too. I mean, it'd be much easier, obviously, in the Championship to utilize them the way they want to.
Yeah.
Whereas the Premier League, it's like teams are just going to be better than you at times. It's like, okay, we can't utilize the way we want you to because they're just not allowing it. We have to go a different way, simple as.
Right.
Is there anything you wanted to talk about specifically about Brentford? Their goalie looked a little better. He wasn't making complete terrible plays out there.
He looked a little rough at the start, but
he's coming into form. Mr. Fernandez, Manny Fernandez, we're going to call him from now on.
Yo, shout out Manny Fernandez.
Is there anything else you want to talk about with them? Do you have faith in them going forward without Tony? I mean, I know they play Watford next, and we'll get to prediction stuff, but do you have some... You back them to get a win against some teams?
They can get goals from other guys. I mean, Baptiste and Canos and Rico Henry can pop up on a nice far post run.
I'm still waiting for an Embuemo goal. It's been a little while.
Yeah, he's been a little cool.
We're going to have to get him going, Brentford.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on. The sky is falling.
Yeah.
Crystal Palace down. We knew it would happen at some point, unfortunately, but...
It's a tough one, as I wear the
beautiful
the
kit.
Eze Crystal Palace kit from last season.
So sharp. 3 losses. The one against Villa simply got outplayed. Leeds.
That's a tough one. Yeah.
That was pretty tough, especially given the fact that Benteke almost had the most crap goal I've ever seen in my life. And also missed a tap in like the 70th minute. And then the 1-0 loss to United. I mean, that's, part of it's just you're going to get outmanned in some of these games, and that unfortunately is what happened in most of these. Mainly, I would say they could have drew the Leeds one easily.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
just 90th minute, Guehi, penalty conceded, not ideal, to say the least.
They potentially could have pulled out a draw against United. Undeserved draw. But they were close.
They were.
77 minute. I mean,
Right now it's the attack that hasn't looked as sharp as it was for a little while.
I think it does stem from other issues, though. I mean, not
the
having
midfield.
MacArthur.
Yeah, I was gonna say
He was doing so much in the midfield, covering up. I mean, Milivojevic, he is very slow, and that you have Konate, and he's just kind of
Konate.
Kouyaté.
Konate's on Liverpool.
Sorry, their names are too similar.
It's one change of letter.
Yeah, Kouyaté. He's kind of purely defensive. He's not gonna.
Yes, he's your Ndidi.
He's not gonna kind of facilitate through passes or anything.
Yeah.
And then a big miss, Anderson in the back. You have James Tompkins coming in there, and
there's a reason he hasn't
played.
At all. Yeah, there's a reason. He's not as good as he was when he was just serviceable at like West Ham, and even his run at Palace, he was serviceable for a little bit. Now he is older, so.
And
we'll
he's
give him a pass.
definitely not serviceable in a team that wants to play more attack-minded.
Yes.
Like Palace want to. Like he's fine if you're like parking the bus.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of guys look fine when you're parking the bus.
Yeah, he should be on Burnley.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a unfortunate run for them. I would say a lot of it does stem from the midfield because the midfield was their strong point, and now it's not quite as good. So
Yeah,
that's going to
so
expose
much-
the flaws all over the team in attack and defense.
So much energy.
Not to mention, I mean, Benteke, I get it. If he was scoring these goals, he'd be at a better team or something like that. With that, he's got to put some of
So
these away.
bad.
The one against Leeds was a header at the back post. I mean, he was just there. I don't know what to say. He puts it an inch wide. It's a matter of 3 points, 1 point. Now you're at 0 points because you concede a penalty in the 90th minute. Oh, Palace. I still believe in them to stay up.
Yeah.
They'll get it going again.
Yeah, they have to.
Leeds, kind of turning it around here.
Yeah, slowly turning the wheel.
They actually look pretty good.
Yeah. Going forward, it's been a lot better.
Yes, and Rafinha is really, really coming back into form for them, I think. I think a couple goals and assists over the last 3 matches. The 0-0 draw against Brighton, and then the 1-0 against Palace, and the 2-2 against Brentford. So 5 points, rather, in the last 3. Definitely an improvement over what was going on before. They just look like they're able to at least facilitate more. It just looks sharper and faster than early in the year. Looks a little more like old Leeds. They're still missing a few key guys, but they got Ayling back. Calvin Phillips coming back.
Huge loss, though. Calvin Phillips actually
Well, yeah, he got
out for
hurt.
2 months.
Yeah, he got hurt again, but he was back.
He was, yeah, but now he's out, so that's going to be a big hole to fill. But it's nice having Luke Ayling back in there.
Pat
Patrick
Bamford, obviously scoring the equalizer against Brentford in the 90th minute.
Yeah, this season for Leeds kind of reminds me of Liverpool of last season, where you have so many injuries. You're just trying to hold on. Like for Liverpool, they're obviously trying to hold on to Champions League.
Yes.
For Leeds are trying to hold on to their spot in the Premier League.
Exactly.
And just trying to figure out any way that they can pick up points here or there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not going to be great, but
yeah, as
can
long
they
as
do
you
enough?
can.
Hopefully.
I think they can, but this defense is just so bad still. I mean, they're going to have to bring in defenders in the summer for sure. Probably won't be able to in the winter unless it's someone for cheap. But at least the attack's looking good, which is Leeds' main thing. They're always an attacking side, as we saw from last year. But
and they really could do with some midfield depth as well.
they could. Forshaw hasn't been like terrible, but do you want to be playing Adam Forshaw?
No, you don't.
No, not to mention like you're gonna have to have Glick play a little more now. I would imagine. Now that Phillips is out, you'll have to rotate some guys around. So
Yeah, they don't really have a replacement for like a defensive midfielder.
no, I know that's the thing is
Like
'cause
Glick-
Glick's more attack minded, but
Yeah.
it's like you have to put him in because he's your next best option off the bench, and you're just gonna have to move other guys around to adjust for the lack of Phillips.
Right.
I think.
And then Forshaw, he's pushing up too. You know, he kind of gets out of position a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Not a guy who's going to be doing a lot of tracking back and, the
Yeah,
dirty
he's
work.
going to be pressing more in the attacking third and the mid more so than the defensive third. We'll have to see how it goes for Leeds. Moving on, Southampton.
Southampton, just as we buy in.
You bought in. I was always semi-in, but I was cautious. 4-0 against Liverpool, as we talked about. That lineup and that decision by Hasenhüttl to go with that makes no sense.
Very strange.
Draw against Leicester, mainly because Leicester's defense is just terrible. And then the 1-1 against Brighton, which, I mean, if you had to pick a winner, you probably would have said Southampton in that game.
Yeah.
They played better. Your guy Broja on the score sheet again. So 2 points out of 9.
I think the key thing for these games, they drew in both of them, and they were winning in both of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that they've struggled throughout this season, is dropping points from winning positions. Very disappointing.
Yep. No, Southampton's defense a little leaky. Part of it's Alex McCarthy's just making He's back to Alex McCarthy, just not a very great keeper. Even the Hasenhüttl had to come out and call him out.
Yeah, that was absolutely ruthless. He blamed McCarthy for the goal against was it Brighton?
Yeah, it was against Brighton.
Said he was like completely at fault.
Mm-hmm.
Put him on blast.
Hilarious. They didn't have Bednarak last game, and I guess he's about equal with Salisu. Maybe Salisu's like slightly better, but he's still I would say their second best actual defender, because Livramento and Walker-Peters and Perot, their wide defenders aren't as good defensively as Bednarak is.
Yeah, and they're bringing in Leonco, and he's all right. I mean, he's decent defensively, but you prefer to have Bednarak in there.
Yes, for sure. Unfortunate for Southampton. We'll have to see the changes they make. I think they have a few guys on suspension along with Brighton. I felt like any time someone got a yellow in that game, they were like, oh, and this guy's suspended. Yeah. I know Romeo is out the next game against Arsenal, so at least you won't have someone break their leg.
True. It's always nice. But to be fair, one thing about this, if you look at these 3 games, I mean, how many points would you really expect Southampton to get beforehand? Maybe 1, honestly.
Yeah. Maybe a draw.
Maybe 2.
Maybe 2. But given the performances, probably 4. They should have won either the Leicester game or the Brighton game. Probably the Brighton game, but
yeah, that's fair.
Southampton, you gotta pick it up again. You're slipping down 16th.
Yeah.
17th though. They made it out of the woods without being in the relegation zone after having to play Chelsea, City, United, and
Leicester.
But even before that, Arsenal, Tottenham. So good for Watford. 3 losses.
It is amazing how somehow they're in 17.
3 losses. Leicester, pretty hard done by that one. We already went over that. Chelsea went over that one. The City one, yeah.
What are you going to do?
Exactly. So the tough run's over. Do you believe in them to kind of turn it up against some of these teams that are around them in the standings? We've seen them play a couple of teams. We've seen them play Newcastle, they drew with early in the year. Norwich, they beat. I believe they beat. I thought they beat another team in.
They beat United.
Oh gosh, yeah. But they'll be playing Brentford this time. Do you think that they have what it takes in terms of to beat these teams?
I'm really not sure about what Watford is. Honestly, they're
the
like
enigma club forever
in the Tottenham range, where it's like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, maybe they could score 3 goals, or maybe they could lose 5-0.
They're really all over the board.
They have kind of very varying lineups.
They're like if you look at a yearbook and you see a kid and you're like, I don't know anything about that kid.
Yeah, who was that
Or like
person?
you have like a class and you like see someone and you're like, I don't even know like anything about this person. Like, what could this person even possibly do? They're just an NPC. I don't know what that person is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Watford's so strange. I mean, they haven't been like, have they had a terrible, terrible performance in the last, like, I don't know. What would you say? The Arsenal, Leicester, Chelsea, City game?
City was pretty bad.
Was as bad as like the Brighton game. That's like their benchmark, because that game was the worst game.
Okay, well, not that bad.
But
that was like death.
I don't know. I back them. We've been over this. I back them only because they at least have guys who can score. As long as you have goal scoring options, I can have faith in you. I can squint my eyes at your squad and say, you can at least score goals. There's a chance you'll stay up and win.
I agree with you on that part.
Especially Dennis is still. It's weird because he can just, like, even when the rest of the team sucks, he'll, like, get a garbage time goal or something, and you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I guess it's 3-1.
Right.
But, yeah, not a ton to say about them. Oh, and then them going back to Bachmann over Ben Foster. I guess Ben Foster picked up a little bit of a
controversy on that one, as he was playing in, like, a charity game while he was potentially injured and then
Yeah.
maybe got more injured and I don't know, crazy. But yeah, I do like it because they have players that can score, whereas you look at the teams below them,
It's hard.
they don't have that really.
It's hard to see. One thing with Watford before we move on, I want to see more Sarr goals and assists. He's dropped a little bit in form. I want to see that pick up. Moving on. Now we're in the relegation zone where it heats up. Burnley, they had a match postponed against Tottenham. Drew with Wolves 0-0, which they should have lost. And they lost to Newcastle on a very strange sequence.
Yeah.
What are we thinking with Burnley right now?
It's not great. It's not great. In my notes here, I have the highlight of the last 3 match weeks being Sean Dyche out in the snow at that game that was postponed.
Yeah.
No Jack, the absolute mad lad. Classic Sean Dyche.
A legend. He was rubbing his head, too. Very confused why they couldn't play.
Just had that grin on his face.
The Ginge goatee.
Great guy, but talk about not being able to score goals. Yeah, that's Burnley at the moment.
Yeah, it's just really bad. It feels like it has to be Cornet or no one, even though Chris Wood got like 1 or 2. Still doesn't feel good.
He's not getting that like 10 to 12 goals a season that
Unless he just picks up the pace somehow out of nowhere. You never know, but he's not nearly on pace to do that.
Yeah.
Their most potent guys going forward other than Cornet are like Westwood and McNeil.
Yeah, that's not a place you want to be.
Dwight McNeil hasn't scored in ages.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing bad. It's just he's a secondary guy on a team that
Right. He's not a goal scorer.
he might be like a third guy on your team. He'll get you like 3 or 4 a year, if that. But yeah, it's looking dire, and this is what we worried about for Burnley. And the defense hasn't looked as good, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's kind of slipping, but
Yeah, you have Ben Mee has been out.
yeah, they've had to rotate Collins in more, the signing from Stoke, and he doesn't look like terrible, but he still has to get adjusted.
I think Tarkovsky is suspended for the next match. The 5 yellows.
Yep.
Seems like everyone's suspended for the next match.
Yeah, everyone's getting yellows out
Everyone
here.
that's anyone is not playing the next match.
Newcastle lost to Arsenal. Poor performance. Draw with Norwich. Literally the epitome of their season, like in a game. That in the Southampton game, where it's like, how could they lose this? What could possibly go wrong? And then they lose it. Or draw it. And then the Burnley win. They get a win out of a fluke play.
Yeah, I mean, they got their first win of the season. 14 weeks into the season. No team that's had that happen has ever survived.
Stayed up, yeah.
I really don't think they're going to. It's more about going forward, like, how crazy are they going to get in the January transfer window? It's kind of the story.
I don't know who are they bringing in, because there's a real possibility you're going to be playing in the championship next year if you sign for Newcastle.
Yeah.
Do you think if they're getting high-profile guys, they won't play in the championship? No. So, I don't know. We'll see, but I don't believe it. I think the main thing for Newcastle is Wilson is healthy, and he's bagging you goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's your bright spot. That's all you really can hold on to, because your defense is still stinky. When Teemu Pukki blows past your last defender and he has to tackle you and get a red card in the 9th minute, that's worse than bad.
Yeah, Kieran Clark.
No words for that. In the Burnley game, Burnley had like maybe 2 chances.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's more of a testament to their attack versus Newcastle's defense.
Yeah, I agree.
Norwich, wrapping up there. Do you have anything you want to say about Newcastle?
No, I just want to say that Mr. Hank over here sends me way too many pictures of the new owner lady who looks very disturbing.
I know that you love her, and that's why I send you pictures of her.
She's literally like one of those
Skeletor
weird ghouls from like Spy Kids, like the made-up creatures or something.
I was thinking more like kind of a Lord of the Rings vibe.
Yeah,
her.
that too. She's got some Schmeagol in her Middle Earth. She's half orcish. And it's like, I want them to get relegated so I don't have to see her face, because they pan to her like 5 times a game.
That's what's hilarious about it.
I mean,
makes no sense
sorry
why they
to
do
be rude about looks like, but she did it to herself. So.
She did it to herself.
She looked all right beforehand. I mean, she was kind of good looking. Now she's just scary.
Cute though. Norwich, 2 draws. We were hyping them up, and then they went out and drew against Wolves. Sadness. Went out and drew.
Won.
Yes, exactly. That's what's sadness about it. Newcastle.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
I don't even know if they deserved a draw.
Yeah, probably.
No one deserved anything in that game.
No.
Then the 3-0 loss to Tottenham. They actually didn't look terrible in terms of attack in that game. They got forward and had chances, but Lloris and Tottenham's defense were good enough to hold them off. And then a Lucas Moura hits you with one.
Yeah.
It's always going to be tough because you're on the back foot.
And they're just, the quality they have in attack is just so poor. I know they've been switching things up. You have Pookie in there, but then, maybe you throw in Josh Sargent has been playing. Ida, the Irishman. He played against Tottenham.
Yeah, it's...
And really, you need someone who can score goals if you're going to get out of this position. That's because Norwich, they do create chances.
When you hold 60% of possession against Tottenham and you get 10 shots but only one's on target, it's rough, man.
Yeah.
Sure, you had 3 shots blocked, but
so
that's
much
tough.
reliance on Timo Pukki.
Yeah.
Who is a guy you should not be relying on.
No, he's pretty much Chris Wood. So, yeah, I would say for a little while, I think the main thing what was going for him is their midfield was at least like looking tolerable.
And then they lost Norman, and that was a big miss.
Yeah.
You could see in the game against Tottenham.
Yeah,
they missed
Mateus Norman, he was clicking for him for a while. He was their only real in-form kind of guy. Then they just have to rotate like McLean, Gilmore, Lees Malou, the Greek guy, the Ciolis. So, I don't know. They even started Lucas Rupp against Newcastle. It's like... So, I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe... I think... Didn't Rashica get hurt too? Or did they just drop him? I thought he might have got hurt.
He must have got hurt because I don't see why they would drop him.
Yeah. So as soon as Norwich get it going, they immediately get hurt.
But I gotta say, I think was it against Newcastle or Tottenham? Might have been against Tottenham. They decided to go with a back 3.
Yeah, it was the latest game. And it was
just like, I don't know why you're doing this. That was stupid.
He's testing it out for, when games really matter. He's like, we're just going to give Conte this game and Tottenham this game.
Yeah.
We'll just lay down. But, yeah, because, they had Williams and Aarons as the wingbacks. But, and even though you held possession, did you think you were really going to have those guys when the game mattered, like, in attack? No. The game was already gone, so. That's it for the recap. Now we got to go.
The mega recap.
The match day 16, match day 17 matches.
Starting off, first match on Friday, a.k.a. tomorrow, Brentford versus Watford. What do you think about this one? At Brentford, at the Brentford Community Stadium, where family and friends come together to enjoy football.
Yes.
/ sometimes rugby, I think.
I want to say that the main thing will be if Watford can exploit Brentford's weaknesses in terms of playing quick and through the midfield. You just have guys playing off the defense practically, and you're just playing them through onto goal. We'll see. I know Watford still are doing the 5-ish in midfield, although it's really, sometimes it's almost like a 4-3-3 with a couple of them getting forward alongside King. But, Yeah, I would say Watford at least have a good chance because this matchup kind of works well for them. As far as Brentford go, your attack isn't amazing because Tony won't be in there. I have good news for you.
It doesn't need to be.
Watford's defense is very, very bad.
Yes.
Unless they're just going to like completely park the bus. Even then, they'll literally let Raheem Sterling be wide open for a tap-in.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a game I'd like to see Watford take advantage of and win this one.
Yeah.
They're catching Brentford at a good time. So I think if they're going to win games, this is a good place to start.
I'm going with the 2-2 draw.
I'm going to say 2-1 Watford.
Ho, you know it's spicy when Sam picks Watford.
Yeah.
Normally they win. City and Wolves at Man City.
You know, I'd like to see Wolves play kind of like they did against Liverpool, where they were able to be really solid defensively.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be needed,
Yeah.
of course, against City. But City have been really good lately, and, you know.
Wolves are kind of like West Ham in the way that they turn it up when it comes to these big games. They act like it's their cup final or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just that their attack stays the exact same,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not always existent. So I think it won't be easy for City, especially working against Wolves' defense. Wolves' defense is pretty solid, especially Connor Cody. Lately has been pretty good. I'm going to go 1-0 City.
Yeah, I like 1-0. I don't see Wolves getting a goal.
You never know.
You never
know if we've seen City just get beat one time behind and then they commit a foul and it's a red card and then they're flustered and it's all downhill.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Southampton.
This has Arsenal loss written all over it.
No, it doesn't. Not at the Emirates. Not with the way Southampton's playing right now. Not with Oriol Romeu, the best midfielder in the Premier League out.
Boss in the midfield.
They're going to have to bring back Alexis Sanchez.
That means Diallo can play. So
yeah, Diallo. They've been playing, I think they played Tella not that long ago, too. They're kind of incorporating some more guys, Southampton, but as long as Brozia's in there, that's all that matters.
True.
Arsenal, as far as this one, play fast. Don't play horseshoe ball, even though they haven't really fully committed to that like they did last year. But still, they've been playing closer to that style the last few games than they did the stretch where they were winning. I want to see, especially, let Southampton have the ball, because Southampton starts fast early. Let them have the ball. Make sure your defense isn't asleep early on, because normally the problem is Arsenal's defense is asleep late on. So hopefully both teams should be, because they both honestly start off kind of fast. So if Arsenal can neutralize that, and then for the remaining portion of the game, go out and get one.
That was going to be my point. I was going to say it'll be interesting to see the first 15 minutes of this game, which direction it goes in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even if one team starts hot, that's no guarantee
Yes.
that they'll be playing well. But
Exactly. Is Emile Smith-Rowe in this one?
I think he will be back. I think it was just a slight injury that he missed out on the Everton game.
I'll be going 2-1 Arsenal.
It'll be interesting to see, does Martinelli start again?
No, I don't think so.
Aubameyang, Nketiah, I don't know, Lacazette, Pepe.
Pepe, oof, where is he? He's just falling off.
He's in the depths
shadow
of the
realm.
bench.
I would guess Lacazette,
Yeah.
but it's anyone's best guess. But yeah, I still feel good. Arsenal 2-1.
I'm going to say 1-1 draw.
Chelsea leads at the Bridge. Leeds attack looking better. Chelsea's defense, I don't know if you'd call it shaky.
Error prone.
Yeah. That's a nice way of putting it.
99%
With
of
that
the
said-
time they're solid. And then that 1%.
With that said, Leeds defense still not good.
Yeah.
Depends who Chelsea has going out there. If it's less of Hudson-Odoi and a little less of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and they're able to get Mount involved, maybe Ziyech. Maybe this is a good game to get Lukaku going. Get him matched up against Cooper. Let him take him to school.
I
would
want
go
to see
Chelsea 2-0.
I want to see a Chelsea bounce back game. Really pour
They
on
need
some
it.
goals. 3-0, 4-0, something
This
like
is a
that.
Premier League podcast, but Chelsea blew a lead against Zenit. I think it was in Russia, but still.
You don't want to be blowing leads to Zenit.
No.
Tell you that. I'm going to say 2-0 Chelsea.
Liverpool, Villa, Stevie G.
The Stevie G derby. Winner gets Stevie G.
With the way Villa's defense has been playing in their midfield, I mean, Douglas Luiz will have a lot on his plate because Villa will be back defensively. But, yeah, this is a tough one because of how well Villa's playing. What are you going to be looking for in this one?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Villa can put up a performance like they did against City, where they were in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Or will Liverpool be too much for them to handle?
I wonder if Cash and Target, obviously capable defenders, are able... How much they're going to be defending versus attacking? Maybe like 66% defending, 33% attacking? Like
I'd say more like 75-25.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a tough one. Villa's going to have to sit in, but we've seen him in this position before, although it was under Dean Smith against one of the big boys. But I'm going to go Liverpool with a 2-0 victory.
Especially the way that Liverpool can hit on the counter if the wingbacks are pushed up, Cash and Target.
Yeah.
Liverpool can take advantage of that.
They just get either Salah or Mane on the flank.
I'm going to say 2-0 Liverpool.
Norwich, Man U. I don't know who let Norwich get a primetime game.
Yes. Let's go. Dean Smith.
I would get hyped, but now that Norman and potentially Rashica are out, I'm not fully off Norwich bandwagon, but we'll see.
I like how Todd Cantwell played one half and then he's back to like not playing.
Maybe he stinks. Maybe Dean Smith's like, wow, he actually stinks. Farka's right. With this one, Ranić, second game. Are they able to dominate possession like they did against Palace? Are they able to maybe play a little faster? There were times during that Palace game that they were able to kind of have really fast build to play, almost counterattack kind of play. But I want to see maybe if they do that against Norwich, because Norwich sometimes will try and go for it. And it's like if you can catch them out. I'm going to go Man U comfortably 3-0.
I'm going to say 3-1 to United. Josh Sargent getting on the score sheet.
No.
The American.
That's
American.
a waste of a prediction. Burnley, West Ham, Turf Moor.
The Claret Derby.
West Ham, you got to take care of your business.
Yeah, you do.
You better win this one.
Gosh, this seems like one where West Ham is going to be attacking the whole game and
then they somehow
struggling
get
to
nothing.
score.
Yeah, they play like they're Wolves or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no Tarkovsky. It's going to be... I wouldn't back Burnley to have the strongest defensive effort. I guess if you're West Ham, you're going to mainly be relying on either the wide players swinging it in, feeding Antonio, or the central players, whether it be Rice picking out passes and stuff. I'm going to go West Ham 2-1, and I don't feel great about it.
I'm going to say 0-0. Next game, Leicester.
I'm changing
versus,
mine to 1-0 West Ham, because that would require Burnley to score 2-1.
Yeah, Leicester versus Newcastle.
This is 3-2, and I don't know who it's going to go to.
Boy, I sure hope Leicester can win this one. If they can't win this one,
This feels like one of those games where Leicester will score, and they might be able to sit back. Just because Newcastle, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Where you're holding the possession, carrying the weight of the game, it's going to be tough for them. So, But Leicester's defense, and Wilson's been playing well. St. Maximin, last game or two, was really starting to get more involved. So, but I'm gonna go Leicester 2-1.
I'm going to say Leicester.
Can they really keep a clean sheet?
No. Leicester
3-1?
3-1.
Okay. Palace, Everton, Selhurst. This is a lovely game to have on by itself. Good to see Selhurst, Palace.
It'll be interesting
Good
to see.
Lord Rafa.
Is Crystal Palace on the way down? Is Everton on the way up? Are we wrong about both? Maybe
I feel like
is
this
where
could
the
definitely
tides
be
turn.
one that has no momentum whatsoever and is just solely a matter of Palace is better than Everton right now, I would say. At
Yeah.
peak, I would probably say Everton's marginally better with Calvert-Lewin and Palace with MacArthur, but the main thing is Doucouré is kind of on an island by himself, really. Whereas Palace have more support in midfield. I'm going to go Palace 1-0.
I'm going to say 3-2 Everton.
Oh.
Richarlison hat trick.
Oh.
Coming at you with all the predictions. But don't hold me to it.
Match week 17. We got midweek action. Starts out with Brentford again. Brentford, back-to-back first games. Brentford, Man U.
That one's got to be United all over. Has to be.
You would think. Brentford, not much going in attack. If you're going to catch Brentford now, this is probably a good time if you're one of the people, one of the teams going for Europe. Yeah, I'll go Man U 2-0.
I'm going to say United 3-1.
Villa, Norwich.
The Dean Smith Derby.
It is the Dean Smith Derby.
You love to see it.
At Carrow Road. He's got the fans behind him.
This is going to be a joyful 2-2 draw.
Wow.
Yeah, I see it. Somehow Norwich is going to score 2 goals in a game. I'm not sure how.
I was thinking draw, but I'm thinking 1-1.
Yeah, that's probably
Even though
more
Villa's
accurate.
playing amazing. City and Leeds.
Oh, R.I.P. Leeds.
This is going to be like 5-1 or 5-2 City.
Yeah.
They're just going to kind of pick Leeds apart by holding the ball.
I
would
think
imagine.
it'll probably be like 4.
I don't know.
4-0.
Leeds last year went to City and prevented City from winning the title, but that was a different Leeds side. That was a fully fit Leeds side, an informed Leeds side.
Yeah.
So
No Calvin Phillips. It's
tough. It's tough to say exactly what they're going to do because we've seen them without Phillips before, and it's been all over the place. Brighton and Wolves. Brighton will have an extended time off before this one because then there's no match with Tottenham.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's going to matter a ton. I mean, their defense, a little, I wouldn't say like shaken up or injured for sure, but they're a little banged up, I guess.
Loose Dunk
Yeah.
was out for the last one. Yeah, had that knee brace on.
But Dan Burns out there.
Dan Burns out there. You got the talls, you got the smalls, you got Tariq Lamptey as well.
Yep. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw on this one.
This one has draw written all over it.
It's just a matter if it's 0-0 or 1-1.
Wolves are like the draw team now. I mean,
They are. They play up and down to their opponents.
exactly. Yeah, I think this will be a 1-1. I like that.
Burnley, Watford. I told you Watford had winnable games coming up.
I hope this game is just like chaos.
It has to be.
I really hope it does.
I'm thinking 2-1 Watford.
I'm thinking 5-5. No, maybe like a 3-2 Watford.
Hopefully. I just want entertainment out here.
Yes.
Palace, Southampton at Selhurst.
Yeah, we really need to see Benteke leave.
He's gonna
go away.
He's gonna have some chances to score, and he better score if Palace are gonna keep putting him in there. I would hope because you got some leaky defenses coming up.
There's this like weird reliance on Benteke because he can score goals, but most of the time he doesn't score goals. And
That's what I was saying
throw
earlier.
in Edouard, just kind of like
A lot of the chances they create suit Benteke more than Edouard in terms of play style. It's just Benteke's not good enough
exactly.
to finish
You need
it.
a better Benteke.
Yeah. They should. Yeah, that's what they need to go for. We need Benteke, but better.
We need like Aston Villa Benteke.
Yes.
Someone call up Gabby Agbonlahor.
Oh, we're getting him in
bring
here.
him back.
Did we make a prediction for this one? No. I'm gonna go with a 2-1 Palace victory. I think Palace is getting back on track. I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid.
Hey, we got to. I'm gonna say 2-1 Southampton.
Oh my gosh, you're all out on them or what? They make it 5 losses in a row for Palace.
I think Southampton's defense is good enough to prevent Palace from scoring, and I think Palace. I'm just concerned about
Mr. Tompkins
and
MacArthur being out.
And no MacArthur. Hopefully, he should be back. I mean, he was
I would
only
think
supposed
so.
to be out for a couple weeks.
Arsenal and West Ham.
This has a David Moyes masterclass.
I'm thinking 3-0 West Ham.
I'm thinking 2-1 West Ham. I think it'll be a hard-fought game. I think it'll be a good game.
I think this is one of those where Martin Tyler's calling it and he's bored out of his mind when he's calling it.
That seems like every game that Martin Tyler commentates on.
Now when it's Damari Gray hitting 90th-minute winners out here.
Okay. That didn't happen.
Leicester, Tottenham maybe will be a game, depending on how fast the guys recover.
Or it could be terrible.
I mean, well, first off, it's going to be terrible regardless.
True.
Both of these teams are not super enjoyable to watch. Unless you like to see Leicester lose, then congratulations. This is your game.
Yeah.
Leaky defense. I'll go with a Tottenham 2-0 victory.
Yeah, I think Tottenham will keep a clean sheet.
Although it's hard to say because if you have a COVID outbreak, the guys aren't going to be playing.
True.
And training.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows after that? Could be crazy.
You're going to have to use all your subs and people are playing. Who's ever playing 90 minutes are going to be laying on the pitch collapsed. Yeah, I might have to change. I'll change it to a draw. We're going to go with a 1-1.
Okay, I'm going 4-2 Leicester.
Chelsea, Everton at the Bridge.
Gosh, this has like a draw written all over it for
no
reason.
I know.
All.
That's what I was thinking. If they had Calvert-Lewin, this feels like one that Everton would win.
Yeah. Townsend is going to pop up. Damari Gray.
Someone on NBCSN was talking about... who were they talking about? It was Everton and someone. And they're like, the difference between this side and Everton is Everton have Rondon and they just named some other striker. And they're like, and that's the difference. I was like, yeah, that is a big difference. We'll go Chelsea 2-0.
I'm going to say Chelsea 3-0.
Liverpool, Newcastle.
Please just decimate Newcastle, Liverpool, please.
How dare you? I'm wearing a Newcastle shirt today just for Sam. Yeah, no, this is going to be a bad one. This is going to be a 4-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, maybe a 4-1.
No.
Get a cheeky goal.
No, there's no cheeky goal.
Cheeky Callum Wilson, 2-1. Kind of like the Everton.
No,
Damari Gray.
That doesn't happen for Newcastle. Newcastle just gets obliterated. Did you actually have a prediction for each day, or did you want to stick with the... I don't even remember the ones you just made.
Richarlison is going to get a hat trick.
Against
Josh
Palace.
Sargent's going to score.
These are all very feasible. I would feel better if you said something like...
Souček is going to score against Arsenal. Jared Bowen's going to score against Arsenal.
Really, I'm thinking
Jack
Lanzini.
Grealish is going to score against Leeds. Someone write all these down.
All right. Well...
Wolves may never score again.
That is true. Now... We bid.
Now we
a fair
feast.
due. Yes, now we feast.
We feast on 20 more Premier League games.
Yes. Until next week, adios, mis amigos.
Farewell. Sweet children. Oh, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Premiership Perusal Podcast. Or maybe it's just Premiership Perusal. I have no clue. Look it up. Search it.
You can find it.
Tweet about it. Instagram about it. We love you. We want to hear from you. Thank you for tuning in. Until next week. Goodbye.
Adios.